Ladies and gentlemen, this video is being recorded in July of 2025. And over the first few weeks of this month, there is a very important tournament going on that will determine some of the next people to contend for the Women's World Chess Championship Challenger position. Because that's how it works in chess. You got to qualify to a tournament called the Candidates, and then you have to win the Candidates, and then you have to challenge the world champion. The world champion, Ju Wen-jun, 5-time world champion. Monster also in Rapid and Blitz. A very, very tough final boss. But this tournament is called the Women's World Cup. I've been following this tournament as a fan, as a spectator, and in around round 4 and the quarterfinal, things really start to heat up, and that's where I wanted to bring this tournament to you. In the earlier rounds, you see sometimes a lot of lopsided matchups, like you see a incumbent 2500 Grandmaster play somebody rated 22, 2300, with some scattered upsets. But more often than not, you see the same contenders move on. And fun fact, we are looking at a situation right now in the quarterfinals where half of the field is from India. The entire Olympic team of India, Vaishali, Divya Deshmukh, Harika Dronavali, and Hampi Koneru have made it, which is crazy. 4 out of 8, 3 players from China. So we have India and China, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite games from some of these matchups. Also, we have Nana Zagnidzev. Shout out to Georgia. Georgia got 2 UFC champions. They also have a contender for the World Chess Championship there. And I'm gonna take you through some of my favorite games from some of these rounds. I'm gonna show you some of the best games played. We're gonna kick things off with Divya Deshmukh from India. Not just to give a big shout out to the Indian fan base, but because this was one of the craziest attacking games she's played. Also one of the biggest and most important wins in her career thus far. She's playing against Zhu Jiner. I think that's how you pronounce it. If somebody speaks Chinese in the comment section, you can help me out. I like to pronounce everybody's name correctly, and sometimes I don't know how. So I just sort of say it like an American. E4 from Divya. C5, the Sicilian defense. And look, if you're going to look for a battle, you're going to go directly into the Najdorf. Now, there are 1,000,001 lines here, but keep in mind, Divya plays this game like a machine. So she starts with G3. When I look at the most common moves of the Najdorf, G3 is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th most popular move. I haven't seen this move in a minute, actually. But let's see what happens, all right? G3, trying to go bishop here. E5, the knight moves. And basically the approach here by white is that you're trying to secure the D5 square. And you think, okay, G3 obviously means bishop G2. No, not necessarily. Knight BD7, Divya plays A4 to stop B5. And in the Najdorf, this is the most important square. And now you're like, wait a minute. Why did Divya go bishop C4 and not bishop G2? And the answer to your question is, I have no freaking clue. I don't know. I think that this is a more passive defense of the D5 square, whereas this is a much more active defense. Like you can actually put your bishop there, whereas on this square, you're not actually relying so much on that. But I don't know why you would play G3 and bishop C4, but she didn't spend any time on it. So already I'm like, okay, there's probably something I can learn from this. Bishop to B7 and queen D3. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. White is developing the bishop and the queen, and you're going to put a rook behind. And obviously you did it like this, so you could castle this way, and this is just going to be used to attack. And so when black castled and white went here, I was like, what the? Okay, obviously I don't understand anything about chess. So you played G3. Why couldn't the pawn be on G2? I don't know. But you kind of fake the opponent out into a certain type of position, and now this is what you have to work with. Now, in the long run in the Najdorf, if you win the battle for the D5 square as white, you're going to really, really put some pressure. These pieces will be traded off. You're going to end up with something standing on D5. You're going to get reinforcement with the rook. This knight will go somewhere. And then black's pawns are just going to be weak. They're going to be very feeble. On top of that, this bishop could just be more active. You could have attacking possibilities, right? So let's see how the middle game develops. We have queen C7. Divya plays the right rook to D1. The A rook is supposed to stay exactly where it is. And now this bishop goes to perish. You trade it because you're trying to remove a layer of defense. And now you move this knight back to D2. And now everything is clear. You have multiple ideas here. You needed to move this rook here so that this knight could go to F1 to go to E3 to go fight for these 2 squares. How does all of this tie together this well? Like, I was looking at this like, that's bananas. Black goes queen. Now you show the other idea. Bishop b3. You get the bishop out of the way. You have ideas to put the knight on c4 and on e3. You can put it on both squares. It doesn't really matter. Once this knight gets here, it's going to be a big problem. Also, you're pressuring two of black's pawns. And again, black's pawn over here is weak. That's why the bishop should have been there. I'm watching this game. I'm like, this is a positional masterclass. If black is not going to successfully play d5, black will have a weakness forever. The bishop is going to be passive. Okay? Bishop c6. She plays knight c4. And now black has to do something. Black has to play a little bit aggressively. She trades, which is why we kept the rook over here in the first place. We go knight to e3. Now we have reinforcements, and we play h4. This is just almost always a useful move. And finally, black begins cracking under the pressure, because what can you do? You don't have a move. You're trying to go here and maybe trade, but I'm going to move my knight to d5. It's not going to work. There we go. Black takes. We take with the knight, because whatever ends up on that square afterward is going to be dominant for us. The bishop is going to be a monster. It's going to be attacking the king. It's going to be attacking the rook. Rook a1, rook a1. And now Divya needs to put the game away. She does this correctly. I think here she repeated moves once. And now white can play queen f3, h5. Those are the moves. She goes here. She tries to trade the bishop to then give the check and bring the knight back. And that's what happens. And she takes. Wasn't the most accurate. I think the computer wanted queen c8. Doesn't really matter. She trades. And now this is the position. And you're about to see how a knight dominates a bishop, a light squared knight on a beautiful outpost with two weak pawns. White will just decide, do we trade the queen, or do we use the queen as an attacking mechanism? Do we freeze the pawn on that square and then try to win it? That's the way we're going to win this game. Black goes for counterplay. You got to do something. But Divya just takes. Brings the knight back. That pawn's weak. The pawn's got to come forward somehow. Queen b3. There are too many problems in the black position. You try to defend everything. Now the queen can infiltrate on the other side. h7, f8 is all hanging. Black didn't have a move. If she went queen e5, the knight was coming in. The pawn was going to be lost. And then this pawn was going to promote. Queen g8 is in. This is a terrifying position for the black king. b4, nice move. Deflecting from the d5 square. And Divya Deshmukh, with some technique, bringing the knight down, making sure there's no counterplay, walks the king out to safety. Queen f7 is a knockout. You win the bishop. The king runs out of checks over here. Probably, if I had to say, like, the best game she's played, and she beats 25-47 FIDE-rated Xu Jiner from China. Now, she went on to lose the second classical game, but she won the tiebreak, because had she won this in classical, it would have been incredible. And Divya has half a point right now in the quarterfinal against Harika Dronavali. That actually guarantees a matchup. That guarantees that an Indian player will qualify to the semifinal. She's up some 14 rating points. She's almost at 2,500. I think she can even get a GM norm in this tournament, but I'm not actually sure about that. But I mean, she must. But it depends how many GMs she's played. Now, the next game was just a crazy game. This was a really exciting battle. Both of these players have sadly been knocked out, but they are from the US, and actually Carissa Yip will be my teammate in the USA versus India matchup. So Divya will actually be playing Carissa. If you don't know, that's happening in October in Dallas. If you don't know that's happening, I'll put a link in the description. D4, this was a Dutch. I was like, yo, Carissa still plays the Dutch? I used to play this opening. I retired from playing this opening because I kept losing in it. But she brings back the Leningrad Dutch against Irina Krush, who's like multiple-time US women's champion. D5, knight a6, bishop d7. And you know, we kind of see Carissa playing the way you're supposed to here, developing these pieces, trying to go for a pawn break. B4, c6, right? E4, very principled. Attacking in the center, trying to attack, you know, black's sort of undeveloped position. Knight e4, apparently incorrect. C5 straight away. Looking for tactics was a little bit better. But this game gets really crazy because, like, Irina plays a great game. She's attacking. She's playing very, very nice. She's breaking through even here. I think queen b7 was really powerful. But Carissa is a dog, as they say. Like, she is always, her games are always chaotic. She's always playing for a win with black. And she, I mean, it doesn't matter if she plays the modern, the beefeater, which I've seen her play, the pterodactyl defense in the modern, or she's playing, you know, whatever this is. Now here, Irina could have moved her rook, but she sacks the rook to get a pass C pawn and try to knock over the position on this side of the board. I was watching this game, and then, you know, I couldn't believe my eyes. Bishop b2, the position is so complicated. White is up a pawn and might win two and have two passers. The black king is not feeling particularly safe. White has two bishops, very powerful knights, f4, you know, attacking ideas. Carissa's trying to trade the rook. Knight g5 is the best move, defending the rook with the bishop. Now the pawn can just go boop, 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 and promote. So black needs to do something. She goes back. The bishop goes back. The pawn's ready to move. Queen goes to d7. That knight is not hanging. Unfortunately, you cannot rush with c6 because it is protected, right? But we have knight f4, queen g4, and now total pandemonium. We have time trouble. So the time trouble breaks out in this game. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was so complicated. Bishop c1, apparently wrong move. Queen c1 better. Doesn't matter. You cannot take the knight because knight g6, discovered attack on the queen. h6. Now Irina finds the best move, h3. I don't know why this is given a brilliant. It's not a brilliant. It's just a normal move. If queen takes, you have knight g6. So queen goes to c8. Irina's winning. She's winning because she's going to remove the defender of this pawn, and she has 5 pieces pointed in this direction. She's going to win this game. Black goes knight f7. Here, the winning move for white is to play knight h4, add another attacker to this pawn, get in with one of the knights, and then you just win. Knight to h4, you take on g6, you end up taking with the knight. Black is totally stuck. Bishop d5, c6, c7. Anytime you want it, you win the game. Irina now is spoiled for choice, though. She could take, she can go here, she can go knight h4, she could take right away, she can even play c6. She thinks down to 3 seconds on the clock and takes right away. Because she gets 3 seconds. So take. Now she has a minute. Her advantage is not as strong as before. It was a knight that needed to be on that square. She needs to get out and do this. That's what she should do. She goes here. The problem with this approach is that this bishop... Why did that happen? Chess.com, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? What was that? I clicked the move and the whole thing jumped forward. That was ridiculous. Now, luckily you didn't see anything. I mean, you saw that black won, but that didn't spoil how black won. The problem here is that the bishop is a target. But the way this game ends was crazy. I was watching this game. I was like, oh my gosh, time trouble gets us all. Great move from Carissa incoming. Knight f3. She had knight f3 in the previous move. Here, white is winning again with bishop e4. Just trying to get the bishop out of the way. Knight f3 is a great move because it deflects the knight like this. And in this position, Irina, again, she has a lot. She can go take, whatever. She thinks down to 1 second. She has 1 second on the clock. She realizes she has a second. She has to make a move to not lose on time. She goes here. Black plays queen takes queen and the game ends. I was like, no! It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. You could be a GM with so much experience. It had 1 second on the clock. The brain just stops. It just... This was a really, really crazy game. I mean, listen, if Carissa gets a win like this in USA versus India, I will not mind. She's always putting on very exciting games. And this game was crazy. I mean, this game was so complicated. I mean, I was looking at this like, what is happening here? These are the kinds of games that I really enjoy. A person that's having an excellent tournament is Lei Tingjie. Okay, I'm just gonna go full screen real quick because I don't want that to happen again, and I don't know what that bug was that happened, but that was dumb. I don't know why it just fast forwarded because I definitely didn't do anything. All right, so we're gonna look at Lei versus Nana. This is the game which happened actually earlier today. This is the quarterfinals. This is a very marquee matchup. These two have played each other probably multiple dozens of times. And Nana played a line that I'm very familiar with. She played this kind of like English ready type of thing, which I don't have any success in. So I'm always very excited to watch somebody play it that is a stronger player than me. Nana plays bishop b2 here after some 19 minutes. Black can go d4, but then white can get the knight into the middle, so black goes knight here. And now we have a3. And so on this move, the move d4 is actually good, but there's a very long sequence of moves where, you kind of provoke this, you trade, you put the knight in the middle, and instead of that, Lei plays b6. She spent 36 minutes on b6 trying to go bishop b7. She also could have played some other moves. She could have played bishop e7, for example, but she goes b6. Pawn takes, and now d4, and white has achieved what she likes. She's going to take. You could even put the bishop here. e2, d3, rook will come to the middle. You will castle with a nice game. And white is very happy to deal with these two pawns against e and b. They're called hanging pawns, not because they're under attack, because they sort of hang in the center of the board, right? Now, e4 is good. Putting the rooks in the middle is good. All right, there's a lot of good, things. e4, rook e1, etc. All pretty good. Knight to e2 is played, targeting this here. Rook c8. And now Nana damages the pawn structure. And I was like, this is an excellent game. It's a fantastic game that's being played right now. Like, it's actually, I mean, it looks like a positional masterpiece, right? It looks really, really good. Now, Lei doesn't want to just get steamrolled positionally. So when you have damaged structure and your king is in the center, you got to create counterplay. You got to make the position a little bit crazy. Queen b2 is an attack on the pawn on f6. Black goes d4. Now the bishops are completely open. You are making a calculated risk that with the king in the middle, the bishops are going to be kind of complementing the open position. Pawn takes d4. Now black does the same thing to white. And queen d7. So white can win a pawn. White can actually win literally the entire left side of the board. But black is somehow conjuring up play with the king in the middle. Nana takes on a6. For a brief moment, black is just down 2 pawns. Not only down 2 pawns, these are horrendous pawns. But one of them is better than the rest, and it's this one. Because if the knight ever goes to g3, black will play h4. And actually, that's what's going to happen, because if the king moves, the queen is ready. Wherever the king goes, the queen is ready. So you got to go here. And now, Lei is going to win the knight. But it's going to cost her the rook. Which is what happens. But she's still going to win the knight. Nana has a couple of moves here. She takes on c5. Black goes here. So the bishop is hanging, but so are these pawns. Now, if you take, I think you just get mated. I think there's like pawn takes f2 double check, and then you just lose. There might even be pawn takes h2, by the way. Pawn takes h2 might even be cleaner with queen h3 ideas incoming, which is sort of insane. So Nana plays the best move, but Lei is not done. She is not done attacking. Now, the best move here for white is to take the bishop, allow the check, and in a really counterintuitive way, put the king on the h-file. Bring the king to the open side, put the rook here, and defend like that. You got to defend the king in the middle on the open second rank. Instead, she goes here, and now black is winning. Black is going to win the rook, and despite white having 3 pawns for a knight, I mean, it looks like white should just promote. That's not what happens. And Lei brings the queen, brings the knight together, and she's just winning. She's winning because the white king has no shelter. It looks like white should do something, but because black is safe behind those 2 pawns, by the way, those dumb pawns ended up being the heroes of the position. Lei wins this game by simply swarming the king. There actually was some drama here. Both players thought they made 40 moves. They both made mistakes writing their moves down. They had only made 39 moves. And so both players thought they had made the 40 moves, and on the 40th move, you get bonus time. So actually, here, it was deemed that white lost on time, officially, because white thought that she made the 40th move. I know that sounds crazy, but she ended, she started thinking here, and after some time, she went here, and the game would have went on maybe for some time, because, you still got to win these pawns, but luckily, there was, you might be confused. Basically, what happens is on the 40th move of a game, you get bonus time. Your time gets added, but it sometimes happens that you think you made 40 moves because you made a mistake while writing your moves down. Now, why do we do this? Why do we have the players write the moves down and not just have a giant screen where they're like, oh, I'm on move 39. Great. I don't know. Chess is a weird way of being stuck in its own traditions. And also, like, writing the moves down is deemed kind of a nice, valuable item. Like, you want the score sheet of a Women's World Cup participant, or of a GothamChess losing all his games in a tournament, or whatever, or if Magnus Carlsen, because he needs one mandatory mention in every video. But that's basically it. And unfortunately here, there was a loss on time. One more shout out to India. Vantika Agrawal, this was an incredible game. She unfortunately lost this matchup to Lagno, and she's not one of the 4 players in the quarterfinals for India, but she beat Lagno, who's one of the strongest women in the world. Like, I mean, she is so good. This was a beautiful game. This game was 98% accuracy by white, and she's not even 2,400 FIDE rated. I think she was. But this was incredible. This was one of those upsets. Knight to a4 was played, which is a big sideline. Hilarious move, just kind of moving the knight out of the middle, and then you're going to just leave the knight there for it to be captured. Because you're happy to bring out your queen. Black goes c5, typical move. White goes rook d1, and then a trade. Black goes here, trying to, you know, attack the queen, and then queen c8. And this is the position. Symmetrical pawns, white has a little bit more space, a little bit more activity. And now Vantika plays this game from this position perfectly. Black has some weaknesses. You kind of want to go exploit them. Black also has no pawns in the center anywhere, which means white can start some sort of a pawn attack. And black has targets. Like, black has weak squares, weak pieces. So every move is going to be exploitable. Knight d5. Knight is going to b6. Black goes here. And now, because the queen is over there, it's a fantastic move. f4, f5, f6 is juicy. Not only f4, f5, f6, f4, e5. Blocking out the bishop and the knight, and then putting the bishop like this. There's multiple ideas here. Black goes here, not realizing that it's maybe not even about f5. It's about this. Just simple improvements here by Vantika. b4 from Lagno. Queen a4. And at this point, white is like, wait a minute. I think I'm just like winning. Knight e7 is a knockout. I have so many threats. Not even knight e7. Knight b6 to take the bishop and then take the knight. And Lagno goes for some sort of a counterplay, but knight e7, king f8. You take the queen, I take your queen. We trade rooks. I take. You can't take my knight. If you take my knight, there is bishop g5. This is crazy. So Vantika is just up a bishop. She just has to keep her nerves. She's straight up a bishop for a pawn. Rook there, bishop d5, bishop b3. She's just a piece up. Just make sure you don't get back ranked. 5 minutes on the clock. She goes rook e1. Black just resigned. She could have played on a little bit, but black just resigned. She just straight up down a piece. A huge win for her. And the Indian showing has been incredible. Obviously, you have the perennial contenders on the women's side that are always there. But you have Lei, you have Harika versus Divya, you have Vaishali versus Tan Zhongyi, Yushin Song versus Humpy Konaru. I mean, India and China represent. And shout out to Nana from Georgia. India and China absolutely dominating. You got the whole Olympic team of India making it to the quarterfinals. That's incredible stuff. And then you have Vantika also with huge wins. It's great to see, honestly. Just amazing stuff. I will keep you posted as this event progresses as well. It will be wrapping up here in the next week. I didn't cover it sooner because, as I said, for me, watching the top players beat up on 22 and 2300s is sort of expected. There was a few upsets, but nothing too crazy. But I do want to see Divya or Vaishali qualify for the World Championship. Yeah, it's about time. The World Championship was brought back to India. But Ju and June is going to be very, very, very tough to beat. Very tough to beat. That's all I have for you today. And later today, I have another recap of Freestyle coming up. Get out of here.